Okay, and then here we have another. So we have a number of professors and students on here. And I think that we'll go ahead and get started just to keep the ball rolling. And what I want to get to here pretty quickly, but just I want to give you an overview of the department. I'm Jeff Davis, Dr. Jeff Davis. I'm the head of the Civil, Environmental, and Construction Engineering Department at the Citadel. And very excited about you guys coming here in the fall, or any students who are still kind of interested and thinking about where they might go. I believe that I want to highlight some of the things that great reasons that our program offers a fantastic educational experience and be able to answer any questions you have. So what I'm going to do now is just share a screen just to show you a couple of visual images instead of just hearing me talk. I want to keep admitting people here. And then we also have the chat available. So if you have a question, you can just ask it right away. This is supposed to be very informal and just supposed to answer your questions, just give you a little preview of what would be in store in the fall and what we'll be offering students in our program. So let me get this. This just gives you a few visual images. This is our building, the classic old building that the first floor was built in the 1930s. So a historical structure and a very well-used building. Laboratories are on the first floor, and offices, computer labs, and classrooms are on the second and third floor. And I'm Dr. Davis, and I'm a professional engineer. Most of our faculty are professional engineers. Here's just kind of an overview of what we'll be covering. And let me continue to admit people here. All right. And so, like I said, we're going to keep it kind of very informal. So if you have questions, ask as we go along here. And here, I didn't mean to have the transitions there. Here's some of the people you'll be hearing from today. So here's Dr. Wood, where maybe you could guess where he's from, state of Texas. Dr. Kwaku Brown, Dr. Rebecca Burke, Dr. Dan Nail, and I had some, not all the pictures of the students are here. Cody Turner is with us, as well as Anthony Sands to answer some questions directly. And the person who's in charge of our student services, Miss Stephanie Fye, and you'll get to hear from each one of these individuals as we go along here. And then the first question I just wanted to answer. So we have 2 degrees in our department: Civil Engineering and Construction Engineering, CE and CONE, Construction Engineering is what we refer to that as. And so the first 2 years are the same. So if you're thinking you might want to go one way or the other, you don't have to make any decision at all until you get to the end of your sophomore year. So we have a common curriculum in the first 2 years. And they're very related. So civil engineering is really more on design. We'll see that in a second. Construction engineering is obviously out in the field. It's definitely way above what mere construction management would be. And in construction management, if a problem arises in the field, which they always do, you have to go get an engineer. If you're a construction engineer, then you have a whole different level of authority on construction projects. And civil engineering is design, but always thinking about what's going to get built out in the real world. And so we see over here, the Cooper River Bridge was a fantastic project for our community and for our state. 10 graduates from the Citadel worked on that project. Here we see a field trip. We go on lots of field trips. This is a graduate. He was a football player from Pennsylvania, Jonathan DeRogie, and he was preparing this big roadway that goes into the State Port Authority container terminal on the old Navy base on the Cooper River for a 60 concrete truck pour on the deck of this bridge. And he had only been out of school a couple of years. It was just great to see what he's doing. We usually go on a field trip out there every day. Here's back a long time ago as the Cooper River Bridge was being constructed. But the big picture is that you can have some time to evaluate whether you want to go into civil or construction, and you can make kind of a seamless transition from one to the other up until the end of your sophomore year. And then this is, and I'll make these slides available so you can see them. This just shows kind of what the emphasis of the curriculum is. So for civil engineering, very design focused. It prepares you for engineering practice. We have 4 main concentration areas: structural engineering, environmental engineering, geotechnical engineering, transportation engineering. So you would get an equal dose of all of those 4 major discipline areas in civil engineering. In construction engineering, the curriculum is more field focused, like what goes on when the project's actually under construction, and prepares you to serve on a construction site or in a construction company maybe. And then we have an emphasis on horizontal and vertical construction, which are different, buildings versus maybe developments or roadways. There's an emphasis on construction management, focused around estimating and scheduling on the construction site, looking at equipment and construction methods, and on skills that you would need, learning a 3-dimensional program called Building Information Management, and a whole host of things: contract, safety, ethics, and labor issues as well. So this is just a glimpse of our curriculum, the 2 different degrees that we offer. And then our program, just so you know, we have the one I believe that most of all of you are interested in is the cadet program. And then this provides a unique campus life and leadership development that pairs very well with our academics, what you learn in the classroom, and then what you need to the technical skills and the academics with the leadership skills and the campus life, and then a whole host of enrichment activities. We don't just teach what you need to know in a classroom. We have students involved in all sorts of things: field trips, academic competitions, great summer, I'm a terrible mouse driver here, great summer jobs. Here was a conference with the mayor of Atlanta and 2 of our students, so all kind of conferences and research activities. And when you graduate, you have a bachelor's of science in civil or construction engineering and this unique set of leadership skills. And we have also a parallel program at night, and more students that are coming into that. And this allows you to have, that you go to the Trident Technical College or a technical college for 2 years, and you come to the Citadel at night. And the academic program is the same in the last 2 years, and students can work during the day, and then when they graduate, they have work experience plus a degree. So, and then enrichment is a big focus area. So we have all of these different professional groups, organizations that have a whole bunch of activities. Here we see our students building a concrete canoe. We've been to the National Championship of Concrete Canoe 3 different times. Here's a big event that was hosted by the Society of Women Engineers, where we, in collaboration with the Girl Scouts, that about 70 Girl Scouts got engineering merit badges. It was very fun with the theme and everything that happens every year. Here's our students with a faculty member on a field trip of the new construction project at the Charleston Airport. So, Society of Women Engineers, American Society of Civil Engineers, the Society of American Military Engineers, Tau Beta Pi, Phi Kappa Phi, and Institute of Transportation Engineers would just be some of the organizations that we have student activities in. And then, like I said, students don't just sit in the classroom. We get to go on field trips. This is the Medical University Children's Hospital, new 13-story building in downtown Charleston. Here's a student that went on an overseas trip over spring break to Haiti, looking at water resource development. Here's our students on the high school, new high school in Mount Pleasant on a field trip. There's students doing research, presenting research at Clemson. These are students out in California going to a national convention. Here is a leadership day activity in a local engineering company. Our students on a rainy day with our concrete canoe. Here's the tour of the Charleston Airport in the lower left-hand corner, an engineering expo, which is our job fair. Here's the students on the right-hand side with the lower right-hand side working on a service learning project for a dam in the local Charleston area that had a lot of issues in it with it. And then, so with that, I want to move on to letting you hear from our participants. So maybe let's go. I think we have, I admitted everyone in here, I believe, yeah. So why don't we go to the first question would be maybe for Cody Turner. Cody is a engineering student, civil engineering student, and will be a senior year next year. And so Cody, can you describe keys to success during your freshman year and recommend a formula for success in the fourth class system for incoming students?
So pretty much coming in, I was really disorganized. Navier really helped straighten me out. It helped me with being able to organize all homeworks for based on different classes. It helped me, time management. You can't spend 3 hours on 6 problems of homework. You can't keep looking at your phone. So it definitely really helped me to see what I really needed to do and kind of what I really wanted. So honestly, probably the best advice I can give is that Navier will really help with organizational skills and making sure that you stick on top of what you need to do.
All right. And why don't we go to Anthony? So looking back now that you're an upperclassman, can you describe the value to you for having made it through the Citadel's fourth class system?
I think the fourth class system definitely taught me to be persistent because there were a lot of times, I'll be honest, where I thought the work was really, really hard and it really got like into my head, like I can't do this. This is just difficult. But I mean, the fourth class system kind of taught me to just keep going and find other ways to find other things that can help you as well.
Okay, and then so maybe you can carry on with this one, Anthony. What recommendations do you have for entering freshmen to build a foundation for academic success in engineering?
Learn good study habits early, because if you don't learn good study habits early, engineering will eat you alive. That, and understand the importance of having a group to study with as well, because I've learned, like, you learn a lot in classes, but you also learn a lot being taught by your classmates and teaching your other classmates as well.
All right. And then maybe back to Cody. Can you describe your experiences in the civil engineering courses and interactions that you've had with faculty and staff since you've been a student in our department?
Funny enough, actually, our fall semester for 20, or I guess that would be junior year, so that would be 2020 or 2019 fall. Yeah. So I was having a little trouble actually in what is it? Engineering. I forget this term.
Mechanics materials?
Yeah, actually, yes. that was definitely a tough class. And Dr. Nail, I went to him a few times in his office and asked him, is there any other way? Because I don't think the current teacher, is teaching well, or, I was having a little difficulties, but he definitely helped point me in the right direction. And then even so, I went back to that same teacher, and he would spend hours on end outside of class, like helping teach people. Anthony Stans can vouch when I say that we would spend at least three, maybe 3.5 hours on a Wednesday night, the day before a test, and he would stick with us after all the other faculty members had left. He had stayed with us and at least made sure that we understood what we were doing before he decided to go home. So the faculty will definitely help you when you reach out and when you really need it.
Anthony, anything to add to your interactions with faculty?
Yeah, faculty are really, really helpful, and they love it, especially when you go out and seek their help instead of just, like, I guess, getting beat by like the tests and stuff like that. They love it whenever you go out and like actively try to improve yourself. It shows that you actually care and you want to get better.
Okay, and the one thing I would just add that is unique to the Citadel is that our faculty have an open door policy. So they're working in their office with the door open, and if they're in there, they will stop what they're doing to help students. And that's not always the case everywhere. I came from Georgia Tech, and that wasn't the case at all there, actually. I was a PhD student, and I had to schedule a week in advance when I could talk to my faculty advisor. And this is a big emphasis for our faculty, is to help students. And then maybe, Anthony, can you describe how you overcame the challenges of the fourth class system when you were a freshman?
So in order to kind of finish your freshman year, you have to have a good group of friends in your company, because if you don't trust and rely on the people within your company, then you're not gonna do very well. So it's really good at building a strong foundation. And those friends you'll have for life, honestly. I just got back from the mountains a couple days ago with some of my friends I've made from Navier. So they're just bonds that'll just never be broken.
Anything to add, Cody?
Honestly, yeah, Anthony pretty much said everything. You know, your friends, and honestly, not even that. Like, there are little things. You know, times are gonna get tough, but there are just little things that kind of, you know, like little funny moments here and there that you can share with your buddies and laugh about it. I still joke with my Navier roommate about something that happened like during, you know, challenge week, and that's what, 3.5, almost 4 years ago at this point. I still joke with him about it. Like, it's there are things that will help get you through it.
All right, so we already heard the students refer to Dr. Dan Nail. Dr. Nail is a graduate of the Citadel and is now back teaching as a professor of practice. And so Dr. Nail, can you describe the value of the Citadel Alumni Network for you and your classmates, and what that value has been throughout your career?
Yes, thanks, Dr. Davis. I appreciate the opportunity. So first off, I wanted to highlight in that bottom right picture is a photo of me standing next to a G500 winglet. And that G500 was a program that I worked on at Gulfstream for General Dynamics for many years. And the reason I say that is throughout my career, not only has the connection to my colleagues in the civil engineering department been tremendous, but it has continued to amaze me how strong this infrastructure is. No matter what city you're in, there are Citadel graduates, and they will absolutely reach out. They will help. They will seek you out for opportunities in employment. And currently, I have a residence in Savannah, Georgia, as well as in Charleston. And in Savannah, Georgia, there's an individual, Gus Bell, that Dr. Davis knows very well, that has been extremely instrumental in the community, and actually seeks out civil engineers from the civil engineering department as he is looking to fill new positions. And the same thing happens in Charleston. So I cannot emphasize enough. I have attended many universities, the University of Pennsylvania, University of South Carolina, and Mercer University, and I have yet to experience any sort of a infrastructure or relationship that is so important when you leave the university, and how strong that bond is regarding future positions, future jobs, just the interface as well as the relationship. So it is something like I've never experienced, and it's something that I just cannot emphasize enough as to how important that is. And while I've got the stage, I'll make one more point. Having been a graduate of the Citadel, everything that these students and the professors are saying, I obviously was part of, and it was a tremendous experience to have that one-on-one training and to hear these students talk about how important it is. It was so important to me. And as I went to some of these other universities, as Dr. Davis had highlighted, I did not have access to the professor. It was only through a teacher's assistant, and that was a little bit challenging to even schedule that. So the one-on-one that Anthony and also Cody have highlighted is something that is so important to the college education process, and it's just something that the Citadel excels in. So I'll reserve any questions till later, Dr. Davis, but I just really proud to be part of the university and also to have been alumni.
All right. Thank you. So this question would be for Stephanie, who is the head of our student services. Describe how our department works with students to provide academic support for students and to connect them with opportunities and resources available at on our campus.
So I provide an extra layer of support, and I meet with students throughout the semester. A lot of them I meet with weekly to help with time management and organization. We go through how to develop great study habits, and these are some of the biggest challenges that you guys could face in the freshman year. This weekly meeting provides accountability and can help you stay focused and stay on track. We have a great student success center, and I work very closely with them. I can refer you guys over there for tutoring, supplemental instruction, and get you connected to other resources such as Math Lab. Engineering is a challenging but very rewarding major, and it's really, really important to get connected to these resources really early on. I'm basically your go-to person in the department if you have a question and you're not really sure who to go to for help or advice. So my door is always open. You're always very welcome.
All right, thank you. And I think that this is just an amazing part of our department. Is just so much support for students and really helps in all kind of ways to make sure that you're successful. And it is a hard major. You have to work hard. So it's having this support network, I think, is a great asset for student learning and for the student learning environment that we have in our department. So next, I'd like to go to Dr. Wood. And Dr. Wood is the professor in the upper left with the Texas flag. And can you describe what students learn in your statics course and how you engage students and demonstrate static principles in your course, in your class?
Yeah, so in my classes, I really love communicating those concepts. So when we're talking about statics, it's a whole class about how nothing moves. And I get really excited about how nothing moves, and I want my students to be really excited about how nothing moves. And you may say, well, that sounds boring. Nothing is moving. But there's all sorts of things that we do in the classroom to make sure that we're mastering the mathematical concepts. Statics is very formative in that we will use it every step along the way. Some of the students can attest to the fact that our classes build. And so you're going to take statics first so that you can then be successful in mechanics and materials. And then you're going to master mechanics and materials so you can be successful in structural analysis. And you keep moving through these things, mastering concepts and building skills. One of the ways that I like to engage is with a lot of demonstrations. So I'm actually in my mobile office at the moment. But you can see, if I get out of the way, there's a truss on the board. We use little truss models. I've got a screaming goat up there that we have to save his life, keep him safe as we explore zero force members. So it turns out that we can take 2 of those members off of that little truss up there, and the screaming goat won't fall to his death. So that's fantastic. The other sorts of things I do is we will analyze stuff in class. So we've got a little plastic shape here that in class we'll figure out where its center of gravity is. And so it turns out that if you can find the center of gravity of a shape like that, you can actually balance it. I got a little pocket knife here. You can balance that shape on a knife's point, right? If you know where the center of gravity is. And so we'll work physical examples like that, all sorts of stuff. Or we can talk about moment of inertia, where we look at the largest moment of inertia for the same shape versus the smallest moment of inertia for a shape. And so I've got a whole toolbox of toys that I roll around the building that we play with in class. And I'm just super excited. I hope you come and are excited that nothing will move in statics. It's fantastic.
And the one thing I would just add is that when you have classes in our department, the professors love to teach. There's no way you're going to be sitting in a class and having direct instructions, blah, blah, blah. The faculty are going to do all kind of things. We had our faculty are well known throughout the country for innovative teaching methods and loving to learn how to teach students in a way that really helps the knowledge come alive, and hopefully get a little glimpse of that today. So let's go on to Dr. Brown. And Dr. Brown, can you describe what students learn about surveying, GPS, and GIS during their sophomore year, and what value this knowledge is to graduates in their careers?
All right. Thanks, Dr. Davis. Just wanted to welcome you guys once again, and thanks for joining us today. So the surveying class is one of the first technical civil engineering classes you're going to take, because you'll be taking most of your preliminary classes like the math and the English and the gen ed stuff. So this class is not necessarily difficult. It gives you the opportunity to get your feet wet, so to speak, and to build yourself up for the more technical classes moving up. So there are 2 surveying classes. The first one is mostly on plane surveying, where we're looking at distance measurements. We've kind of start off basic with tapes and pacing and other basic measurements, but then we start using equipment like levels, total stations, and we also talk about construction surveying. Also learn how to work with angles, right? So you can calculate something called latitudes and departures. And all this is important so we can actually survey the existing ground for a project, right? The second surveying class is a little bit more abstract, but we try to make it as exciting as possible so everyone can kind of have a good feel of what we're dealing with. It's talking about geospatial applications. So not all of it is some of it is more abstract than the first class. The techniques that are involved in this is mapping. 3D mapping will be one of them. Sometimes we look at LiDAR data with regards to drones. We also talk about GPS, which is a big deal with regards to surveying these days. We also look at GIS, which is Geographic Information Systems, and remote sensing as well. So with all of these, we have a lab for both classes, and the lab is where actually, in my opinion, the most important learning takes place, because you have hands-on experience with the equipment, total stations. You go out, you take the data, you bring it in, you process it. With the GIS stuff, you have a computer, you work. We have all these labs furnished with the equipment we need for each class, and you have a one-on-one, you have a computer, and your professors are always going around helping you with these software applications. We also deal with Civil 3D, because in the second class, we're trying to build 3D models to help us with site development, where we have to determine how much cut is needed on the site, how much fill is needed on the site for construction projects. So both classes are really important for the program, because another good thing about this is the Citadel is one of the only colleges in the state that gives you enough credits to actually sit for a professional surveying license. Well, the first part, the survey in training exam. So as you're thinking about your EIT or your
Oops, did he freeze up there? I think he froze up. Yeah, actually, we're the only school in South Carolina that you can sit
exam,
for
you can also
surveying
you
exam.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a really big deal, because you can think about all the big schools, especially those in the state. You think about your Clemson, your South Carolina, they don't have the credits for you to take it right out of school and to build you up to be able to take those exams. So moving forward, this is kind of a really good foundation, and surveying is part of almost every other almost every project. I had a student who was working on geotechnical engineering over the summer, and he just sent me an email saying that he thought he was done with surveying, but when he went to the site, the first thing they did was to put a level and a total station in his hands to try and find some kind of elevation or some kind of angle or area. So again, surveying is very foundational. And even if you're not going to be the surveyor on site, you would have to have the knowledge to be able to guide whoever is your surveyor on site. So this thing is a really good foundational class. And we also have a topo box, which is pretty interesting, where you can actually build landforms and see with augmented reality. And we have a lot of fun with it, especially in the second surveying class. So in a nutshell, I know I talked about 2 classes, but that's basically what we do in surveying. And it's a really good foundational class moving forward after that.
Yeah, and then Dr. Brown and the students did a special project when the president of the Citadel noticed that the lines during the parade formation weren't straight. They had just done it all with pacing, someone in the ROTC department, and the lines weren't straight. They were off by as much as 5 feet from one side of the parade field to the other. And Dr. Brown with students from our department went and resurveyed all of that and put markers out there. And so there's all kind of applications to surveying data. And there is lots of technology, more than you could ever imagine. So, all right, well, let's go on to Dr. Burke. So can you describe class field trips and the value of these field trips and what they serve in the learning of course material?
I would be happy to. Thank you, Dr. Davis, and welcome everybody. So I think that for me, I worked in architecture and engineering for about 15 years before I became a professor at the Citadel. And so one of the things that I really recognized as I was leaving school was how many of the things that we had learned in the classroom I was now seeing in real life and how much of an impact that had on me. So I had learned a lot of the foundational tools that I needed to be a good engineer. But once I was seeing them in practice, in construction, in design, I really was able to connect with them very well. So one of the things that's really important for myself and my classes and for most of us in our classes is that we have these opportunities for you all to not only learn the foundational, the most important engineering methodologies, but also to have the opportunity to go out onto construction sites or go into manufacturing facilities to be able to see these principles, these engineering principles that we're learning about, see them applied. So it's one thing to learn about designing a steel structure or designing a reinforced concrete structure, but it's a completely different experience to be able to go out to a site where you can see them creating those pieces of steel that are going to be used on large either infrastructure projects or building projects, or seeing precast concrete plants where they're actually doing the design and the construction of that precast concrete that creates these parking structures that we may see in design or that we're going to be driving in. And you have a hard time picturing what a foundation would look like until you've been out to a site and have seen a huge site that has all of the foundations that have been dug, and you can see the reinforcing going in place. You can see the forms being put in place. You can see how many people are involved in it. And then you can start to see yourself as an engineer and how you fit into this process. You talk to the site superintendent, you talk to the project engineer, you talk to the structural engineer and geotechnical engineer that's there on the site, and you learn so much from them and their experience that they have right there on that project. And you can start to see yourself there, right? You can picture yourself as a site engineer or a project engineer and what that would look like. You can start to formulate what exactly you think your future may look like. So I've really enjoyed being able to bring students to sites so that they're able to see themselves in these positions and then also see all the steps along the way that it takes to create a successful project.
Yeah, I think, and understanding the role of an engineer, whether it's on the design side or on the construction engineering side, it's, seeing firsthand is really just very super informative, and learning from the people that are doing the kind of crafts work, how all of that, how your design work, your engineering work can be better informed by understanding how it actually gets built is really a great part of engineering. So I have a few additional questions, but I believe what I would like to do now is just go on. We have had a few student questions come in that I would like to answer. This just shows, again, more activities. On the upper left, we have a big outreach into the community. Any students who are interested in science and math, we're always trying to show them what's interesting about becoming an engineer. Here's our students participating in steel bridge competition at the University of South Carolina. Here are students participating in a Habitat for Humanity project, and we get very involved in that. Field trips, leadership, construction of our concrete canoe, more field trips. This was our graduating class a few years back. Here's our students at a concrete plant. So we learn how to design concrete mixes, and then we go to a plant and see how they're doing it on a large scale basis. So some of the questions that have come in, one was kind of answered by Cody Turner already from Marcus about how do you decide? I think that's about what your major should be. Between civil or construction, you have those first 2 years to try to, talk to people, talk to people that you know in your community, talk to professors. We will have a career fair in the fall of both years. You can go and talk to representatives of companies there. There'll be a lot of resources to kind of figure out what is the best engineering major for you. And then I'm very involved in that because if you were to change majors, then I sign some piece of paper that allows you to change. And then I have a conversation with you about that too. But you'll be hearing a lot about this from your professors. Another question is, do you need a laptop? And Cody Turner took a shot at this too. Yeah, I think it is good to have a laptop. Students who had good laptops were better prepared when we had online instruction. We do have periods when we have hurricanes pass by close to the coast recently where the school is out, but the courses kind of continue. So we provide information about what type of laptop would be best. But we do have tremendous software and technology available in our department. We have 3 very high performing computer labs that we spent a lot of money on technology and plotters and everything else. So generally speaking, a Mac computer is not as good to run all of the PC-based programs like AutoCAD Civil 3D. They supposedly are able to partition those to work as a PC. Myself, I have a Mac, and I always have had difficulty with that, but I think PC is a little bit better route to go for the type programs that you might be using as a student if you weren't able to use them in the labs on campus. So this is where we just want to make sure we're answering your questions. Anybody have a question they'd like to ask directly to any of the participants on the session today? Any additional things to add from our students who are participating? Cody and Anthony, anything else to add about your perspective of coming here as a freshman and going into civil and construction engineering?
Just one thing I have to say is, as long as you work hard, you'll be treated well by the civil engineering program as a whole. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
And we have just a tremendous support from our upper class. Our success, we all have a vested interest in each other's success. So, you know, when you're here in our academic building, the fourth class system is not in place, and upperclassmen like Anthony and Cody will give you advice, help you if you're stuck, help you figure out solutions to whatever you're, have good advice of how to be successful in the classes that you're taking as a freshman. So I think you'll find a very, very supportive environment. And here's a question from Vicky. Any updates about when school will be starting? It's still on schedule. So right now they're saying that we will be meeting face-to-face, and the classes will be held just like they have in the past. And they're saying it'll be based off of the normal schedule that we have. Exactly when freshmen would report and all that, I think the finer details of that is still being worked out. Our president, who was a 4-star general in the Marines, he has just been outstanding in figuring out the best course ahead for us and for our students, for faculty and staff, and just have tremendous confidence in him and leadership of our school to figure out the best way to go through the months ahead. And with all the things that have happened, in the last few months, just their reaction to that has been outstanding. And he is a national leader, and he's leading the Citadel, and I'm sure he'll have very clear instructions soon on what to expect and what to be ready for. But they're saying the classes will be held face-to-face, and I think other schools are following in line with that as well. Anything else from the students, from our students, that you would like to add? Cody, anything else you can think of that's come to mind?
Other than, ask a question now or forever hold your peace.
What about from the faculty? Any additional things to add about the program, advice to students coming in?
Dr. Davis, I would just reiterate that the Citadel's a fantastic place to learn. I know that for myself, I would have probably not done well at a military school. but if I had known how much that the faculty here at the Citadel care for students compared to at most other top engineering programs, I think I might have risked coming to a military institution, because the academic side of what we do here is just, we're here to teach students. And you sadly can't say that for every university out there. So that student first priority is a great feature of the Citadel civil engineering and construction engineering programs.
And here we have a question right along those lines from Timothy about academics in the classrooms and the support compared to other schools like Clemson or South Carolina. I think, you know, there is a difference, and the difference would be kind of rooted in the fact that faculty in those schools are expected to bring in external research money and to conduct these complicated research projects. To do that, they need graduate students, and they, you know, the emphasis is kind of split across these areas. They're graduate students, the research that they have to perform, and then also the undergraduates. So here we're an undergraduate teaching institution. So teaching is our top priority. So our faculty teach the courses. We don't have graduate students teaching the courses. We have open door policy. You can talk to us anytime, the faculty, about anything that would be helpful to you. And I think that there would be a difference in that regard. If I went to Georgia Tech, I taught courses as a graduate student. You know, we don't have that here. We have the faculty teaching the courses. And there, if faculty are spending a lot of time with students, let's say in the student clubs or on all these activities that you see, they would be told, if they were new as an assistant professor, they would be told, like, you have to spend more time on research and less time on students. And this is kind of a common path to success as a faculty member. And that is not the case here. We say spend time with students and do these other activities, fine, but the primary focus we have, undergraduate teaching institution, and the students are our center, and the undergraduate students are our center.
One of the other things, Jeff, that I think is really interesting and unique to the Citadel is that a large portion of our faculty have worked in industry before. And so I think that the experience that they bring to the classroom from their experience in industry is really helpful. I remember those being, as an undergraduate, being the professors and the faculty that I just really learned a lot from, and I really loved learning from them. And so I think that that is part of our strength as well at the Citadel, is that we do have a lot of that experience in our faculty. And I think that you as students really gain the benefit of that. And we love to share it with you as well.
Yeah, and 11 out of our 14 faculty are professional engineers. So we have real world credentials, and we put you on a path to become a professional engineer, which is should be a byproduct of your education here. You do the first part, you graduate from the ABET accredited school, you take and pass the fundamentals of engineering, which you would take in your senior year with an amazing preparatory course for that. Then you work for 4 years under a licensed professional engineer. Along the way, you can take the professional engineering exam, and then when you get your professional engineering license, you get like a 20 to 25% raise in most companies. And the value and the trajectory of your career are much different. And we do a lot to help get students on this pathway and really put a big focus on what are you going to be doing out there in the real world as a practicing engineer. So there's a question from Marcus about aerospace engineering. Is an interest of theirs, and which major would work well with this? I would let Dr. Nail was the chief engineer of Gulfstream Aerospace in Savannah, Georgia, and a graduate of our program with a civil engineering degree. So Dr. Nail, you want to take a shot at this question?
Sure. So my route to aerospace was from the civil engineering department at the Citadel. And essentially when I graduated from the Citadel, I had an invitation from Grumman in Bethpage, Long Island, to work on the space shuttle program. And the reason they hired civil engineers was they believed that civil engineers had the best background foundation in structural design because of all the different courses and materials, dynamics, structures design that civil engineers are exposed to, and those concepts are universal. So that was my intro, and then as I proceeded up through the aerospace industry, obviously I gained a lot more knowledge and took a lot more courses in that area. But I think as far as structural design, civil engineers are outstanding when it comes to the application of aerospace and design of different aircraft vehicles. So that, if there's any follow-up questions, I'd be glad to address them, but that's the Cliff Notes version of my path to, from a civil engineer at the Citadel to working in the aerospace industry. And then after working at Grumman, I went to work at Gulfstream in Savannah and started out as an entry-level engineer. And when I retired last year, I was responsible for 1,500 people. That included all of the pilots, all of the structural design, all of the flight tests, the certification, and all of the new aircraft. So it was quite an extensive path, and I would have to say that the leadership at the Citadel was fundamental to me actually achieving not only the education, but also the leadership responsibilities.
All right, thank you, Dr. Nail. Just a statement from Cody Turner about ROTC. Obviously, that's a big part of the Citadel. You can choose to apply for an ROTC, a contract appointment with one of the major branches of the military that are all represented here. And I believe, Cody, are you on a ROTC appointment?
Yes, I'm on a 3-year National AD Army Scholarship. And I got that after like my senior year of high school. And then I came into the Citadel. So I've been doing ROTC and civil engineering since Navier. So if anyone has any questions about that, I'd be more than happy to answer.
And then the other way to get a contract like that is also typically they do consider a lot of contract admissions for once you get into your sophomore year. So it's a great aspect of the Citadel. Everybody is in ROTC courses. If you're not going to go into the military, then you take them the first 2 years, and then you take what's called ROTC fulfillment in the following 2 years. So let's move on. I just want to point out, here's our department, 16 people all together, amazing people that you wouldn't believe how much support that you'll receive from these individuals and from our staff. We also have graduate assistants that help us in the advising and other aspects of the department, and the focused support of this group of people, I think you will find unique and amazing asset to you as an engineering student. And just closing thoughts, I think we have a very unique program in that it's very practically oriented. It's a great learning environment. We have open door policy. I have an open door policy. Talk to students, help students. I'm trying to help a student find a summer job right now. If you have a question or need, the answer will always be that the faculty and staff are going to stop what they're doing and try to help you figure out a solution to whatever it is you're facing. If you want a summer job, you want to go to a conference, you want to participate in research, whatever it may be, then we're going to do what we can to help make these good outcomes for you as a student here. And then here's just a long list of 54 graduates from our program. And this is a great outcome. All of these students received their degrees and are going out into the working world with lots of job offers and opportunities. And I know that they have a great foundation for success moving into their careers as engineers. And this is what our faculty work for and our staff, and it's a great pride and just very proud of these accomplishments of our students and the preparedness that they have to be successful in their careers. And we know each and every one of these students, where they're from, what they're good at, what they could get better at. We've written letters, we've got, helped them get scholarships, awards, everything else you can think of, helped them with projects. And these students have been fantastic. And we have a very unique and lively student learning environment here. And this is what I would say the formula to success would be. You have to have a foundation of math and science. And then that's what the foundation of engineering is. You need to go to an ABET accredited program, which we are ABET accredited. That puts us on par with all other engineering schools in the United States. You have to be dedicated and be able to work hard, but it's not like you're doing that in a vacuum. You're with a bunch of other students who are doing the same thing. And then we need to add some enrichment activities, not just sitting in the classroom, but all the other things that that you need to add to the classroom environment. And then all of that added together, then you definitely will reach the finish line and have these great opportunities for you going forward in careers that I believe you will find very rewarding to you personally, and rewarding in that they make meaningful contributions to our community. And let's see what else is coming here. That there's a financial aid info session on June 1st. So there'll be more information about that. There's a lot of support. We have $200,000, $250,000 of scholarships in our own department that we give out. And this is a great asset to our students to have this kind of support. Mostly the scholarships are divided up into maybe a few $1,000s a year and stuff like that. But everybody has a chance to apply for those once you get at the end of your freshman year, as you're transitioning into your senior year for the departmental scholarships. And we do have, if you want to find out more, we have great social media in that you can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. And we have lots of stories about our alumni, about our students, about our faculty, about field trips and everything else under the sun. And you can kind of get a glimpse of what it's like to be a student here by looking at all of that information. So that kind of concludes the part that I wanted to discuss. And just wanted to have some kind of structure to our time here today. So, but I don't want to keep you here too long, so like a little bit over 45 minutes. Any questions from anyone before we say goodbye here for today? And you certainly can reach out anytime to me, and I'll be happy to help you be prepared for the fall or answer any questions about our curriculum, connect you with people that might want to talk to more. All right, well, I think that this will do it for our session today, and stay tuned for additional sessions, and any questions about coming here in the fall, let me know, and we'll be quick to give you the support and the answers that you need. All right, thanks to everyone. Thanks to the faculty and our students for joining, and all right, everybody have a great day out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for joining.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Look forward to seeing you all in the fall.
Yes, sir.
Woo!
Thanks, Cody. Thanks to you and Anthony for being on.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to help.
No problem. Anytime. Guys, later.
All right.
Yeah, see you in the fall.
See ya.
Is Vicky still on here? What's the phone number for the Lassaigne Gateway? Is a it's a website. So if you Google Citadel Lassaigne Gateway, then that will take you to a login, and you use your ID. I don't know exactly what it is for students, but you use your ID, and then you have an assigned password to begin with.
Yeah, we tried. My son just typed that question. He's sitting here with me. He had a password and username and everything.
Yeah.
And we keep getting a message saying that there's been too many tries. And so number to call, but the number goes nowhere.
Okay. Well, I think the best way is that we have a very good help desk. So why don't you send me an email, and I can help facilitate getting the help that you need to answer this question.
Awesome.
And what is your son's name?
Can I chime in real quick, Dr. Davis? So was this recently, Vicky, or was it sometime yesterday or a few days ago?
No, it's been like the last month.
Okay.
Benjamin Steele.
Okay.
And we had set it up, gosh, I guess it was in February when he first got his, the campus-wide ID.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just haven't been able to get back in since.
Okay. So I was asking because I had that same message over the weekend because the system was down. So I thought maybe because the system was down.
He just tried it again on his phone.
Okay.
Same thing. So
Yeah, they'll be able to reset all of this, and I don't know what's going on with not everyone is here, I guess. Maybe that might be part of it, but online they answer the question really quickly. So I will,
Okay.
if you email me jeff.davis@springfield.edu, then that would give me a link, and I would send my own inquiry to Citadel ITS to get an answer to this.
Perfect. Thank you
Okay.
very much. I
sure.
appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
for all
you.
the information.
Yeah, sure.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, I think it was okay. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
good.
good.
Very good. Nice job.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice to have the students on too. I think they did a great job.
Yeah, it's not the same without them, that's for sure. Because then you could see that we're not just saying that they like it or whatever, or that we support them.
Yeah.
And they're part of who we are. So, all righty. I don't know. I guess there's not this other thing that Derek's doing. They're going to just advertise that directly to the students, I guess, about the June 1.
Yeah, I think Derek had sent out postcards with all the information on.
Okay.
And I think he'll email the students a reminder closer to the date.
I want to just save this chat. I know how to do that.
I think
All right.
when you click on the 3 dots,
Yeah.
you get it?
Sort of.
The save chat. On the,
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good afternoon.
Good
All right,
day.
see ya.
Bye.